inviting me here to be a speaker, especially in this, I would say, very august gathering, because this is for the first time in the campus. I have seen a lot of enthusiasm, especially about intellectual brainstorming. This is the first time, to be honest, in the Dhaka University campus. I have seen amongst the students such a such a kind of enthusiasm, especially for knowledge. And I would like to congratulate especially the organizers of Bangladesh Study Forum. Honestly speaking, while I was doing my master's in democratic studies in the United Kingdom, I did some readings actually on the social movement. So that was my first and the last reading on social movement. So I actually understand social movement very little. But today, from Asif bin Ali's presentation, I have learned a lot about social movement. Thank you, Asif. It's a nice presentation. And I must agree with Asif, especially his main argument of the presentation, where he banks on actually. He says that social movement is raising question. Am I right?
Yeah.
Raising question. And this is where I really agree with him. I don't disagree with him. If you look at social movement from that perspective, I don't have any problem. And as a student of political science, I think that, we are ready to accept this theory, especially social movement, because we have seen over the years, even in the political science literature, it is quite evident. I mean, almost all the political scientists have almost come to a sort of agreement that political parties have been miserably failing to represent people's interest. So there is a gap in the politics, even in Bangladesh. Who was supposed to bring this issue into the public sphere? I mean, the issue of VAT. It was the responsibility of the political parties. But did they do it? No. Did they come forward to raise this issue? They didn't. Even none of the political parties, as far as my knowledge is concerned, they didn't ask about it to the government. This is a kind of injustice being done to the students of the private university. So this kind of problem, it's not only evident in Bangladesh, it is everywhere. It is even in India, even the Congress, BJP, are they really speaking? Are they really representing the interest of the common people? So that is why the movement like Anna Hazara's movement against anti-corruption or any other movement has been organized in the public sphere. So this is very important. Another point is, I'm very interested to know about why social movement all of a sudden it emerges, and then after a few days or after a few years it fades away. So this has been the question that always triggered my mind. But perhaps this is the nature of the social movement everywhere. If I'm not wrong, you will tell me about it. Right? Let's talk a little bit about VAT. So this is everybody has said about VAT. This is a serious social movement in Bangladesh. So VAT is not only a social movement to me, right? By this movement, I have clearly understood. This movement clearly reveals the character of the nature of the state, the character of the state. It reveals to us then how non-participative the state is. So whenever the state is taking a decision for the student, they are not even consulting with the students or the authorities of the private universities. I'm not sure. Only the bureaucrats are taking the decisions, right? You know about the fact that when the finance minister saying that, I was very surprised to hear about that. He was saying that the private university students, they spend 30,000 or 40,000 takas per month. So such a factual, error was made by an honorable finance minister. So he doesn't even know about the, the condition of the students of the private universities. So it clearly shows that there is a huge gap between the state elites and the common people in the country. So, this VAT actually has taught me many lessons about the state, about how our policy is being made in the country, about how the state is being run in the country. So, from that perspective, definitely, this type of movement has raised or, has triggered a lot of questions, and we need to find out the answer of those questions, right? So he is very right, focusing on this particular issue, a very important issue, and I think this is going to be, this is going to open our eyes in the near future. So thank you, Mr. Asif, right? And I think the questions, what is your name? Sabirin, and the questions you have raised, I think he has, in his presentation, actually, I personally have found all the answers of your questions. I don't know why you didn't find answers, but I have found all the answers in his presentations, right? Definitely the social movement, he has already said that it doesn't actually, challenge the power of the state. It doesn't have the agenda to change the, structure of the power. So it is only very specific agenda. And the moment it it sees that its agenda has been accepted by the state, then it goes. It never strives for capturing state power. He has clearly said. So this is the break of point, if I am not wrong. He has rightly mentioned about it. And whether the you asked the question about whether all the movements are social movements.
Yeah.
Then how can we say that what the Islamic Jongi Gushti have been doing all over the world, is it social movement, or shall we call this social movement? How would you define it? How would you say? Or do you have disagreement with my point of view?
Yeah.
How would you define it? Can you just tell me?
The society doesn't give any place to this movement. There's ISL, but the movement, when society give place to arrange a movement or to a particular group to movement to something, that time this is social movement. Every movement in the world is social movement.
So you have
If there is not, this is not social movement. This is not any kind of movement, because society give place to make a such kind of movement, because the movement is arranging on the society. Society accept this. They like bad movement. This society recognize this movement, and society agree with the movement. That's why it is social movement. But the ISS or ISL, the society is not giving them place to this movement or to this such kind of massacre. I think my point from this perspective. Thank you, sir.
What do you think about it? Can you just? I want to know.
But I mean, if I'm not wrong, the first part of his argument is okay, that society was playing a role to organize a movement, but at the same time, if you get the IS things, there is a fundamental difference. in social movement area, and that's why I already referred MNO. I mean, old social movement and new social movement, and the demarcation of 1970s and post 1970s and pre 1970s. The thing is that if you look to the IS issue, and if you go to those areas where IS are ruling, you'll find that a part of society accepting them. Seriously, a part of society is accepting them, giving them tax. So the Machiavellian authority was also functional there. So that sort of argument creates a kind of use fallacy to understand the movement. So I am not saying that this is not the way. This is also a way, but I am saying that this way has this fallacy. So social movement is definitely, it has political influence, but it's not eternally political. And that's why Iranian revolution is different from the anti-capitalist movement in Brazil that's going on, that had gone through the same time. So if you look back to that debate, you will find that okay, these are the two movements, but in a different way. So why these are different? Yeah, I should agree that academics, they create jargons, they create terms to hold their monopoly over this knowledge production. But at the same time, I think as an academician, you should be ready to accept those terms also. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, thank you very much. I have nothing to add, right? But once again, thank you very much for inviting me, and honestly speaking, I have learned so many things about social movements, and I thank you, Asim. Thank you very much.